In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to create a one column div. So the first thing you want to do is basically create a new document. So you just go to File, New Document, and you're going to save the document into your root folder. I'm going to call this index. And the next thing you want to do is just move this over here a little bit. You want to insert div, make sure to give it a name, and the main div, as we talked about it in class, should be called container, and this container should be the size of your PSD file. So we're going to make a new CSS rule. So this is going to be an external style sheet, and we're going to give the external style sheet, we're going to give it a name. I want to call it main. So that's going to be the main engine that's going to style our page. And again, this is going to be a box. It's going to determine the size of the web page. And like I said, for now we're going to make it 955 600, but generally speaking the 600 is relative, and eventually we're going to change it to percentage, and so it's but for now we're just going to keep it pixels. Change the background to some color so we can see our page better, and we want to make sure that this page is centered to the website. So we're going to again go back to box, uncheck the margin, and check the right and the left of the container div to auto, and make sure the top and bottom set to 0. I'm going to say OK, and now we have our container. And if we look at the code, you see that this is my beginning div, this is my closing div. And what we want to do, we want to press return, and next to closing div, move it all the way down and add a comment to it. And the comment should be the first option. I should be you should say closing div tag, and move it down. So every other div that we're going to make should be before this tag. So I'm going to go back here, and we can just work off code, insert div, and this time I'm going to call this header. Make sure everything is lowercase, and we're going to make sure it goes to the main CSS rule. So okay, go back to your box, and I don't remember the width should always be 955 for everything. The height, I can't remember what exactly it was, but for now I'm just going to leave it at 100 because we can fix it later. And if I go back to, we don't have to change anything in the margins. I just want to go back to background and change the color to some other color so I can identify it better. And again, later I can come back and change it to a different color. And if I go back, you can see that I have my header, I have that's residing inside the container. And if I come back here, if I go back to my images, if I click on my header, you can see that the height of my file is 132. I'm going to go ahead and check the height, 319. So come back here, I'm going to go ahead and actually fix this. So make sure this is set to the file structure. So I'm going to click to my header, check the first option, and change it to 132 because that's what it was. So you can change these numbers, the height, if you can't remember exactly what that number was. I'm going to go back out. Make sure you click after the closing div of the header. So go back after, go back to insert div. This time I'm going to call this gallery. Make sure you're on ID, CSS rule, make sure you're on the main. Say OK, and again box background, I'll just do it another color, box 955 by, I think it was 319. You don't need to change anything else. Come back, check, beautiful. So we have 2 more to go. Make sure again you're after the final div. Insert div. This time you want to call this text. New CSS rule. Main. Okay. Again, background, just change it to a different color. And box 955. I'm going to say 320. I can come back, change it if it's not the right number. And again, make sure you're after. Press the return to move down. Insert div. This time it's called the footer. New. Make sure it's on main. It's okay. Background. Maybe like a different gray. Box 955. Let's say 30. Apply. Okay. And we come back and check it. And everything's beautiful. And the text seems to be a little taller than it needs to be. So I'm going to go back and check my sizes. So that's 117. And the footer is 32. So I'm going to go back here and check my main here on CSS Designer. Go back to text. It was 132. That was 52, I think. So 32 or 31, I think. So you can modify these as you go about it. And you can now go ahead and delete the container text. The text for the other ones, you can just leave it after you insert your images into the areas. And again, as you recall on the other video, basically we need to choose insert div, insert image, and point to the right image. And now you can go ahead and delete the image. And again, if you see spaces, it means that you probably have an extra paragraph. So here you see there's an extra p tag, so you want to make sure you go ahead and delete them. So get rid of the extra spaces. If I preview this, and your preview button, by the way, is at the bottom right hand side. Mine is an older version, so they moved it. So okay, so there we go.